All right, I want to see if we can go over the OneRadon software, the OneRadon software for you guys, get you a little bit more comfortable with the software itself when it comes to downloading results, generating a PDF, and uploading it to, actually currently we are emailing it to Lindsay once we actually have the results. So we don't want to be uploading those results ourselves. So right now I am working on a 1027 model. As 1028s and the 1030s come in, I'll do another demo on those to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see really how it works. I know there's been a certain amount of questions. Nobody wants the dreaded yellow box, right? So let's work on the 1027 for now. So I've got it plugged into the computer and into the wall. And we're in the software itself. So we can go to devices. On this particular, we can select a 1027 device and reading the directions. You select the USB serial, you press get data first, right? So press get data first. We're going to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hold down our buttons until the yellow light comes on, release, it hits flat, it starts flashing. Then we just select the print button once. You don't need to hold down the print button. And as you can see, the line is starting to kind of go around in a circle here. So it'll finally get all the way full circle. And then that data will be fully uploaded. The monitor itself will flash at you once it has completed also. All right, it just flashed at me. And then test data successfully retrieved. Right, so we hit OK. And now we have data, right? We can adjust the start time. We know we've got 4.3, so this, of course, was one unit that we definitely needed to upload. You can see the graph. This date, start time was actually about 1:30 p.m. The number used for reporting. For serial number, you look on the back of the box. So this one here, I have 31265118 is a serial number. You can look on the calibration sheet also. That should have the serial number. Otherwise, it'll be on the bottom of the box. And then calibration date on this one. Let me look. Okay, so it is 01/20/2020. That was in the beginning of this year. Calibration factor is actually 0.98. This is important, so you need to make sure that you're hitting these. Okay. And now all that information is in, right? So we got the model number 1027, calibration date was January 20th, here's serial number, and then it's due again in January of next year, right? So now we are going to hit the add button. All right, so we're going to create a new inspection with this test data, all right? We selected that, and now it shows really all the test duration, the start date, the test duration, right? Overall average was 4.2, with including the calibration factor. So the information that's in here, when you click on, the name and the address and all of these, the cursor shows up in different locations as we go through this, this whole list of items, especially when it says, inspected by, it's way over here. So you got to be careful as to where it is that the cursor goes. Sometimes they'll go in the front, sometimes they'll go in the back. All right, so we're going to just say John Doe on this one, 1, 2, 3, anywhere. And then Buford for the office, Georgia, and then 3519, that's fine. And then okay, so we'll just copy all that to the billing address. It's not necessarily needed on this one, as this is an example. So here's the chart that the client will actually see. We can see the readings go upwards of, say, I think probably 7.0, maybe in a couple of spots here, which is great. So then we can go to pictures. We don't add any of these. If you choose, you can always take a picture of the unit in its location and add a photo to that. It's not required, not necessarily for us. So then we can push on to checklists. So it's just, we're just kind of following each of these tabs as we go across. While you will know as to, you know, what are the items that you need to check in this. All right. So it was selected so detector was not to be disturbed during testing. Of course, not place an area of high humidity. Make sure of that. Not located near a supplier return vent. You can do within 20 inches of a window or a door. Yes, the unit can be placed along an exterior wall. Ideally, rule of thumb for us is that we place a unit in the center of the house, minimum 20 inches off of the floor, 12 inches from the ceiling. So even if you needed to put it on a top shelf, as long as it's 12 inches from the ceiling, then we're good, and definitely not near an HVAC system or vent supplier return. So ideally, we're placing the unit 20 inches off the ground. Please do not use the box as a stand. You know, buy a bucket. They're $4. We'll get more of them as much as we can also. Whole house fans off during the inspection, or I mean, you can leave it blank as an item that didn't even apply. Not placed near areas of excessive heat, fireplace, direct sunlight. Anyway, check the items that, see, 1 foot, you can go 20 inches. 3 feet of a window or door, forgive me, goodness. All right. And then radon information, we can say radon risk information because this unit did fail, right? So radon risk information, and then understanding radon results, and then report setup. Okay, so we can go to top, overall. We're not going to override the test result. The inspection type is pre-mitigation, building type, residential single family. You can go through each of these to choose which specifically you need to do. Atmospheric conditions, we can say it was clear and dry outside, or you can say that it was raining. When it's raining outside and people ask questions, you know, does the rain actually affect the radon results? Yes, it does, depending on how much barometric pressure is actually pushing down on the unit, or on the in the air, should I say. Of course, depending on how much rain you get, the wind speed, there's a lot of variables that are there, but an average guess would be it may increase the radon result. So for 4.2, it may increase the radon result 10 to 20%, between 10 and 20%. So even if it's 10%, right, 4.2, what would that be? 0.42, right? So it actually might bring it up to 4.62, right? So it can affect the number, but not by a heck of a lot. Depending on all of those variables, as well as the overall number, or the average number that we got on the unit itself. Okay. So clear and dry on this one. Monitor location, we can specify. So the cursor is on the left this time, right? So we'll say monitor was in the basement, mitigation system installed, no. We can say we're just going to leave that alone, leave it alone. And then so we'll just go over to inspected by, right? So Jason David, and then invoice amount. We don't have to worry about either one of those. So now we have gone through each one of our tabs and entered in the pertinent information for the test itself. Now we're never going to upload the inspection, and we're not going to generate the invoice, and we're not going to generate both the invoice and the inspection. So the only thing that we're going to actually select is generate PDF inspection, right? So this is our report. We have John Doe 123 anywhere. That's where the location was. This is, which client it was, pre-mitigation, the inspector. This is an important part, making sure that you have it identified as who the inspector is. The overall average, EPA average, serial number. Anyway, it's got all the information in there for the unit itself. It shows the graph on the second sheet, right? Here's some of the items that we checked off when we were doing a test, and now it's got all the hourly. So just like the WordPad software that we have for the older systems, it has all that line items, rows of timeframes for each hour. Okay. And then radon risk information, understanding test results. Those things that we selected at the very end. So now all we got to do, you will select the download button. You're going to say, all right, Doe J 123 radon hourly is how we're going to do it. All right, Doe J radon hourly, and then you can email it over to Lindsay, and then you're good to go from there. All right. Hopefully that helps you guys understand the radon software a little bit better. It's really not difficult. It is fairly easy to get together. I know that there have been a certain amount of questions as to getting the very beginning of this going. So sometimes guys will have issues with the actual connection or connecting the unit to the computer itself. There have been instances where there have been what's called comport conflicts. Plug your cable into a different USB slot and see if you can actually get action. Make sure you select get data first. We don't need to identify what's in here. It's already selected for us, especially for the 1027s. So make sure you hit get data first, then you hold down your buttons and you hit your print button once, and then it should load up. I've seen plenty of times where, you'll have a circle running like that, and then that outer loop where it's actually collecting all of the data that runs slower and finally makes full circle. I've seen plenty of times where that does not show up. So don't let that discourage you when it comes to knowing that the data has been downloaded. So it's kind of a funky program, but it's still really great. And it's a much more attractive report than the WordPad software that we have, which is very basic. It's even a legacy product now too, so they don't even encourage anybody to use it. All right, that's it, guys. Hopefully that works for you, and we can go from there.